So this is the first day of spring. First day of spring, and notice where the sun is located. You can just point your finger right there at the sun and keep your finger in that spot. I'm going to change the slide right now. Okay, 6 months later. You see where the sun is gone? Should I go back and forth? I could. By the time autumn arrives, 9/21/12, still 8:30 a.m., okay? The sun is still high in the sky, but this is all about to change. 12/21/12. Where is the sun? Still 8:30 in the morning, but the sun has fallen to its death. Winter is about to begin. And up until this point, the sun has appeared to move to the south 1 degree every day. If you were closer to the Arctic Circle, you would notice that for a 3-day period, December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, for this 3-day period, the sun has fallen in the sky all 1 degree every day until it just disappears. And for 3 days, the sun is below the horizon. The sun is dead. The sun is in the cave. And guess what happens on December 25th? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The stories often tell of a hero sun god being born under a star. And you can look into other legends and see this same archetype. If you want to dig deeper into this, I'll turn you on to D.M. Murdoch and her research. This is a good book to begin with. So we can't really wrap our brains around this where we sit. We have a lot of light pollution. That's one of the amazing things about the Keck Observatory on the Big Island of Hawaii is altitude. And if you're driving up to this observatory, you get to this cloud layer and you think, man, it's so cloudy tonight, I'm not going to be able to see anything. You kind of start to get bummed out, but you're halfway up this mountain and there's no way you're going to turn around, right? You climb up to like 13,000 feet and everything kind of starts to break apart and get clear, and you can see the stars in a way that you've never been able to see the stars before. It almost makes you angry that you can't see the stars like this every night at your house. But we have so many lights on, especially here in Dallas, that light pollution prevents us from witnessing this amazing light show without traveling to the top of a mountain on a tiny island in the middle of the ocean. I mean, this is an actual photograph. Our ancestors saw this in the sky night after night, no matter where they were. And then you have to take into account these stars appeared to be moving across the sky. So if you turn to the north and you look at these stars, you'll find all of the circumpolar stars. So basically, you can point your camera at the right star and you make the right time-lapse setting on your camera and you hit go and you get a picture that kind of looks like this. But what a lot of people don't think about is these are the circumpolar stars. These are the stars that spin around the pole without ever going across the horizon. But if you were to point that same camera to the east or to the west, you would notice that the stars appear to rise and set just like the sun does. So now think of the stories that could be told. We have this giant bright star that lights the day and all of these other characters to make these stories with, because we don't have TV and distractions like that going on. This is how the stories were made. So let's dissect this a little bit. Given this information, if you look to the east as we enter the Christmas season, you'll find Orion's belt on the night before Christmas. Now, only Matthew mentions the presence of a star in the east. He's the only one to mention wise men who would follow it as well. And he doesn't mention the number, but any astrotheological philosopher will tell you that those wise men were 3 wise men, and they are connected to the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Of course, this is completely symbolic. I mean, why would wise men need to follow a star to get from Jerusalem to Bethlehem? It's only like 8 miles away. They could probably walk this in the dark without following stars. So here's the night sky facing the east, and these wise men are going to follow this star. Let's not call them the men. Let's look at the stars. There's the 3 stars of Orion's belt. And just below this constellation of the 3 stars of Orion's belt is Sirius. And Sirius was said to be the most important star to the ancient Egyptians. And if we were to stay out here all night and just stare at this same location where Sirius is over that little mountain there, we would see that this is the same location where the sun is born the following day. So the stars are not always like this. During other seasons, the stars are nowhere near this formation. Just days prior to Christmas, the stars are not quite in the correct spot at the correct time. Here, it's already dark, and the stars are already out when Orion's belt appears on the horizon. It's 6:50 p.m. And you notice that this is the 11th of December. So we skip ahead here. The cutout is where Orion's belt is at this time of day. This is just days after Christmas. And again, the stars are not quite in the correct spot at the correct time. Even if you were to go back to the 1st of January, the last star on Orion's belt clears the horizon at like 4:55. Here we are on the 9th, and this is where Orion's belt is at 5 p.m. Before, it had already been dark for a while before Orion's belt hit this point. Now it isn't quite dark enough to expose the stars. So during these dates only, when the new sun is born, can these 3 kings that make up Orion's belt be found on the horizon just at the moment that the sky is dark enough to expose the stars on the eastern horizon. All of the timing is precise. The moment of Easter and the moments that lead into the Christmas morning. Here is 1 minute. It's been Christmas for 1 minute, right at midnight. The head of Virgo peeks over the eastern horizon. And here she is at 4:30 in the morning. And this is, of course, where the sun will be born on Christmas morning. But just before she gives birth to the sun, she crushes the head of the serpent. Serpens. Soon, the New Year's sun will be born just below Virgo right here, as if the Virgin has given birth to her Son, our Savior, the light of the world. And this is the moment of the new year. And notice we're facing east, and this is the sunrise on Christmas morning here, and Aquila, the bird, appears to be above the earth with the light of the sun. So the bird is above the earth. Even though we're facing east, the light is above, and the bird is above the earth from this perspective. Aquila sitting atop a great sphere might look familiar, depending on your background. Now, of course, we can't see these stars, but they're there. And if we were to turn and see the stars that were in the west at this moment, we would see Hydra, the serpent. So above us with the light is the bird, and below us is the serpent in the darkness. It begins to look a little bit like the Yggdrasil tree, the Gnostic Yggdrasil tree. This tree, although it's used in several different philosophic circles, This tree is actually a date, and it marks New Year's, or what we call Christmas. Just as we have the as above, so below philosophy in Christian tradition, especially Gnostic Christian tradition, those who recognize this, you will recognize on earth as it is in heaven.